not have to necessarily budget for them specifically, because we really, I mean, I know they're included in here, but could we not just give a direction that says, we don't want fund balance below 20% because, and I don't know if there's consensus on that or not, but then whatever money is left, I mean, that's what we're turning in, 20%, so our funds available are gonna meet that 20% threshold.
Are you talking about in the out years?
Yeah.
So the mill levy is calculated year by year based on the difference between revenues and expenditures, so what you need for taxes. The county does not look at your out years.
I understand that, but
Okay.
you do internal analysis.
I do.
Based on your current assumptions. So all I'm saying is, if we said we don't want this to fall below, we're going to basically fund any initiatives that we do in 2015 with what we have left in here. The rest of it will be a mill decrease if it turns out that way or not. I mean, can we do that?
I would need more specific direction than that, because right now, this list of things that you're looking at, these are one-time expenditures.
Right, that's essentially
it's not.
We said spend it down and spend it on,
Right,
those expenditures.
because in the out years, you're talking about everything from staffing to projects, and I'm not talking about one-time projects, I'm talking about equipment, things that cross over the years, like the IT stuff, sorry. You're gonna have to, in other words, when you're reducing one-time costs, if you wanna go through this list and say, okay, I don't wanna do this, I don't wanna do that, I don't wanna, whatever, okay, but then some things go on, like the market adjustment, that when you took the COLA out, so we took it out and moved it, so if you were to put it back in later, or any market adjustments you do, well, that impacts the out years.
Yes, it does.
And we don't know what those are yet.
So these are, right, and I don't know what, the rule of thumb that we did for example, let me tell you how much closer Cheryl does things than we did before. Instead of just taking all the expenditures and saying, oh, they went up 3%, 4%, whatever in the out years, we've gone through the out years and said, we're only gonna spend, as a rule of thumb, $150,000 in equipment purchases from here on out, and we will make that citywide, and we will take whoever, we'll go through it as a city and figure out how we do that, whether that's a debt service payment or whatever for equipment, so a lease purchase or whatever. So before, what it used to be is the city as a whole wanted $700,000 of equipment purchases, and so when they didn't get it, they would move it off over the next couple of years. And so we don't do those things anymore. These are all so much tighter as they are right now, but I would have to have specific direction. You're gonna have to tell me if you're talking about one-time decreases or permanent decreases, which is why I wrote the analysis. If you're gonna do a sustained reduction in mill revenue stream, then I'm just not comfortable until you give me a sustained reduction in the expenditures, which is, that's what all the analysis was.
I'm fine with that.
So you wanna offset your CIP program that you haven't talked about yet, or you wanna offset?
Understand CIP is gonna be a different, it's a different fund.
It's some of it.
And there's gonna be some bonded, you know, some bonding that's gonna happen there. We understand, but that's not gonna come entirely out.
Okay, then you're talking about reducing staffing, or reducing, so those are all policy decisions, that's all it was.
And I hate, because this is gonna seem like a non-sequitur, but I will, Christie was talking about the 20%, and the GFAO says that the best practice is not to go below 2 months. But they say best practice is to be closer to 3 months.
Yes.
3 months is 25%. I just want to remind everybody of that.
Certainly.
I mean, yes, that's minimum, and, at 20 is a whole lot closer to 16, which isn't a best practice.
Between 20 and 25%.
I mean, I don't want to have see our credit rating impacted. I mean, we've seen what happened with that on the federal and the state level.
The fund balance isn't going to affect our credit rating as much as our debt load affects our credit rating.
Which is reducing.
Which is going down.
Okay,
That's what Bruce just showed you. So don't take on any new projects then, is what you're saying.
No, when that debt is rolling off.
Okay.
When that debt is rolling off, we're going to be looking at probably issuing new debt on the
When we
back
go to-
side. We talked about that.
But when we go to issue that new debt, they're going to look at our general fund balance and our
And if it's
reserves,
between
and that
20
will
and-
have an effect upon the rating.
And if it's
We
between
blew up the
20 and
UV because we were scared to death of what that's going to do to our bond with no statistical analysis at the least, just hypotheticals. But now we've truly got factual measures in place. Bond counsel, you go below 25%, every time we've seen it, it's affected what your ratings are going to be.
I discussed this with.
I don't know if that's necessarily the case. We got down to, now, we did have a bond, downgrade, I think when we got down to 16, didn't we get down to 16%?
We haven't had a downgrade.
Okay, so there we go, so we got down
But
to
that's-
16%.
No.
At one
We
year.
weren't ever at 60%
Not anytime
fund
recently.
balance.
Well, we were expected to, I think we didn't have to,
They, okay, so.
right?
The discussion about bonds, I had a discussion with
Go ahead.
financial advisor Kimmel. Have I mentioned the message that the rating agency is going to be curious about is if you have a CIP program that's been dormant, and you haven't re-implemented your street maintenance program yet, and we told them in March that we were embarking on a CIP program, and starting just this year, re-implemented your water and sewer maintenance, and have yet to do your street maintenance because they can't get you there till 2017. It's gonna be a very tricky discussion to explain why we decreased 2 mills when you have not reinstated your CIP program or your street maintenance programs or any of the other deferred maintenance that you've done.
And that's-
They're as interested in your financial planning and your planning for development as they are in your fund balance. It's not in a vacuum. All of your components go together.
And that's coming from our.
That comes
our
from your financial advisor.
Bruce Kimmel with Eller.
Tricky message was a quote. That's a quote.
Well, then how are they gonna look at a park maintenance building study or a youth leadership council? That's, again, those are electives.
They're electives.
If we have $31 million outstanding, projects that have not been done and need to be done, and by the way, that number was 24 million, I think, when we first got on the council, right? So, now we're up to $31 million, and, I mean, every dollar of available funds should go to that, and a little bit should come back to the citizens of this town, and then, a little bit, if necessary, should go to, people who need the cost of living adjustment, if that's the case. But I also, sorry to flit around here, but I think, Bob Page had a pretty good analysis of the cost of living increase. And that is, it really should be 3%, and I don't know if this is, illegal to do, but let's face it, the people at the top end of the pay scale, a $100,000 job, 3%, $3,000, I know the cost of living has not gone up $3,000 for those people. I can guarantee you the cost of living at the $14 an hour jobs is definitely gone up 3% and more.
We've already removed the cost of living
Okay,
from your
well,
direction
so-
last time.
Okay, well, I'm sorry,
Well,
but I
what
thought
we've done is we've placed it into
Yeah.
a compensation fund of.
yeah, but we didn't take it out.
Figure out later.
We did not
We-
take the amount out, you're
No,
exactly
exactly.
right.
We
We
moved.
did say we're not gonna do a broad 3% cost of living.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
there's going to be a determination
still
as
in
to
the
what we're
budget.
gonna do with
it is still in the budget.
But I guess what I'm
Spot.
saying is, it all goes back to, if you're saying that, bond count, or not it's not actually bond.
Financial advisor.
Financial advisor is saying, how are the investors buying our bonds going to look at the city if we're reducing the mill rate and, we still have $31 million of unfunded projects? Then I guess I have to ask the question, how can we afford this other stuff too?
It
Any
is
of
all a
it.
policy decision. We talked to you in April and in
All right.
June and twice in
So
July.
I think we need to start cutting. I think that's where we're headed with this thing, is we need to
All right,
cut some of this
here's,
stuff out.
I think I found 2 line items that will do this.
Okay, what are they?
Okay, guys, park maintenance building study, okay? Let's say that we scrap the park maintenance building study for 2015. We take the West Side Park improvements that we have budgeted for 2015 budget year, and we straddle that between 2015 and 2016. So the total capital outlay doesn't occur all at once. So we take West Side Park, we split it between 2015 and 2016, okay? If you do those 2 things, you've got $300,000 there to pay for a mill levy increase.
Yeah, but you don't know if you can look at that West Side Park project and say, can we just split it in half and do it over 2 years?
No, I'm
You
not
have to
saying
look
split
at
it
what
in
you're
half.
going
You
to
started
do.
in October and you ended in May.
But it,
You still have to do.
It's gonna
be happening in the winter anyway.
Winter months are not prime months for doing construction projects.
Well, if you don't do it in the time when it's not being used, you're gonna lose revenues.
Well-
You usually do your projects in times when the location is dormant.